Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Game Vortex, which means that I'm finally back. I've moved to a new house, and that's why I want to apologize for this echo that you're hearing, because I'm still setting up my studio. I'm still waiting for the soundproofing material and obviously for the green screen, which allows me to take this hobby to the next level. But after the long hiatus, I'm finally back, and today I really wanted to talk to you about what happened at BlizzCon 2018. So let's dive straight into it. So BlizzCon 2018 just happened recently, and it's a very important show for me because I am a big fan of many games that Activision Blizzard in this case, Blizzard produces. These games have been with me since I was a little kid. I played the hell out of StarCraft, every single StarCraft, religiously, just like a Command & Conquer as well. I've also played World of Warcraft. Didn't really like that much, but Warcraft itself was amazing. And obviously there was a game or two for me that defined me and influenced me as a gamer that I look up to for many years. And that, of course, is Diablo. But before we get into that dumpster fire of a presentation, I'm just going to give you a quick overview about what kind of announcements they've made and what am I thinking about it. So the biggest thing is obviously Warcraft 3 is getting remastered, and it's going to be released next year. It's going to be called Warcraft Reforged, and we don't know exactly when it's coming out, but hopefully we won't have to wait too long to find out. I was a big fan of StarCraft all the time since I was young, and I kept playing the 3 as long as I could. I've never really touched Dota because I never was into that. But this is a nice announcement. Obviously, I don't think that they needed to remaster it, but I'm definitely gonna pick this up and play the hell out of that. Obviously, they have a new heroes for Overwatch, which if you're a big fan, great. I'm not. I may try it in the future just because I was a bit burned out on the first-person shooters already. Destiny filled that void for me, and so many other games. Then I'm obviously gonna skip the main part and leave it just for a minute. Hearthstone, obviously expansion about trolls, that's great. World of Warcraft Classic is coming out this summer, that's great as well. Now on to the main event there, and that means talking about Diablo. Now, Diablo 1, the first time I picked it up, I played it, it didn't really click with me because it was, I think, a single player only game at that time. As much as I loved it, it was kind of, I don't know, maybe I was too young or something. Diablo 2, on the other end, is the game that defined me as a gamer. The same as Quake and Counter-Strike defined me as a person who plays first-person shooters almost religiously for years and years on end, from morning until night. Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction in particular, was the same game for me when it came to an RPG. This was the first game that introduced me to a grind and loot mechanic, and I think that it did it perfectly. I've spent thousands of hours playing that game online, mostly online, not even for the story. We had a service that we could connect to, the people who could, like, if you create a new character, they'll drag you all the way through all 3 levels of difficulty, take you to the secret Khal level until that was patched eventually, and you just rake all the levels up to the max in a party in the secret Khal level, and then you start grinding for the loot and making sure you have, let's say, an assassin for the PvP, you have a wizard, right? I think it was the wizard, the girl at that time, or Amazon or barbarian, like depending on the setup that you want, and I think it was just a perfect balance and great game. Then came obviously the Diablo 3. I didn't pick it up for the first 2 years. I've sank maybe a couple of 100 hours into that. I've stopped for a while, and Paragon 580 something. This is the level I'm at right now. Now, basically Blizzard, what the hell happened on this BlizzCon? First of all, they said in the beginning of the year, moving in closer to now, expect a huge announcements about Diablo. We have multiple Diablo projects in the works, and that was an exciting thing because people started thinking about Diablo 4. But then literally 2 weeks before the BlizzCon, they kind of came out and said, listen, we do have a lot of Diablo projects at work, but none of them are going to be what you're expecting. Well, I assume that they thought what is going to happen is that people would just accept anything. Nobody expected to have a mobile game announced, and especially not the way it was announced. People thought that at least some of those projects will end up being PC products, right? So the only reason why Diablo 3 right now is going to Switch as a port is because the game is starting to die, and I think it's already dead, to be honest. A couple of days ago I popped back in to see what I can find, and no matter what torment level I'm choosing, I cannot find a single game that I can connect to. It's like nobody plays that game. And when I create my own game, I spend an hour on my server and nobody even popped in. It didn't matter which server was I on. I usually play on European server, and even though I live in Asia, I've tried at different times of day to see how it works. And that's disturbing fact, because I like to play this game with someone. It's either me and my friend playing it or a random person joining us. And this is a shame. It shows you that they're losing ground, and that yes, we know Diablo 4 was not supposed to be there simply because it takes about 10 years for them to release another game like that. Between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, between StarCraft, right? And I think that they are running out of luck, because the way the gaming landscape is changing right now, the way the games are coming out, the way the games are evolving, they can no longer take 10 years to develop a game. Now, Diablo 3 came out in 2012. Yes, they tweaked, they removed, they put the auction, they removed the auction and trading and stuff like that. They revamped the whole item system, grinding system. Great, but it's still the same game, it's the same product, right? But the problem that I'm having is that, for example, 2012 till now, 2018, that's about 6 years, right? There's no sign of Diablo 4 coming out. In 6 years, for example, Naughty Dog released Uncharted 1, 2, 3, and The Last of Us, all in the span of 6 years. So that's not an excuse to say that you can't come up with at least one game. Yes, okay, the different kinds of game, maybe it takes a bit more to develop RPG and stuff like that, but to be honest, I don't think it does, because with the games like Uncharted, yes, they're not open world, but they have so many photorealistic looking assets. They mocap people, they have voice actors, they have real actors. There's so many things to do there, and it's on such a big scale, and it needs to deliver, it needs to be great. And I just don't see it with Diablo. And then we come to this bloody presentation, and what we get is a mobile game, and it's not even being developed by Blizzard. They are outsourcing it to someone else, and they are outsourcing it to the company that I've had a few experiences playing these games. So I'm looking right now, the Blizzard unveiled Diablo Immortal, a new game set in Diablo universe built for the mobile devices, blah 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 blah. The video received more than 256,000 dislikes as soon as it came out. There was multiple threads on Reddit that just bashed the game, and they are pretty much correct. What I'm expecting this to be is to be another one of those games, I try to like mobile gaming, and there's a couple of games that I actually like to play. Let me see what's on my mobile phone right now. On my mobile phone right now, I have Terra Genesis, a terraforming game, a Ghostbusters World that I haven't picked up in a week already, and obviously I'm playing a Naruto Blazing, because they're quite unique games. I don't feel like they're milking me out of every single penny, just to try to advance my project. Now, Immortal is being made by a company called NetEase, which is a Chinese company, right? And it makes games for different kinds of companies, right, that wants to outsource it. And they have this game that I used to play called Crusaders of Light. And I've installed it, I've played it for about 4 or 5 hours, and I deleted it. Because it's the same formula, there will be a game on mobile that works, and every single company will start just reskinning and copying that. I absolutely despise the controls, because they're displayed in the corners, and a lot of times when you're looking at the action, you don't even know what button you're pressing. It's just constantly have timers and milking you out of every fucking thing. I'm sorry for the word, and the game looks very similar. And to be honest, first they came out and they were like, well, we are working with them together, but they Blizzard never confirmed that they actually aiding in development in some way. So what they're saying here, basically, quoting, we have said that we have multiple Diablo teams working on multiple Diablo projects, and that remains true, even after releasing Diablo 3 for Nintendo Switch and announcing Diablo Immortal. Yeah, obviously you're probably working on Diablo 4. We still have multiple Diablo teams working on multiple unannounced Diablo project, and it's obviously a tentpole franchise. It always will be. We love it. We hope our fans understand that we are saying when we say that. Now, what I want to say to this, listen, Blizzard, I know that you're not listening, but if you were, BlizzCon was a show where you showed how much you listen to your fans, because most of your games exist and become as popular because they are so good in terms of gameplay mechanics and the worlds, and that they used to always listen to feedback. And BlizzCon was that time when they listened to feedback and show how they've listened to this feedback, which in this case, I think they are starting to turn into Electronic Arts and EA, because that's where they take in Diablo 3 and 4 and whatever else they have there. Like, when the companies grow so big, they seem to lose their way with the fans and actually listening to the constructive feedback. Nobody ever asked for a mobile Diablo game. And yes, maybe I would like to have a Diablo game, but I don't like to have a Diablo game which is pretty much the same formula as there are other games, hundreds of other games that are on the market. Make it yourself. Make it unique. I'll rather pay you $10 and I won't have to grind and get loot boxes and microtransactions every couple of minutes. But that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a shit show. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna spoil the story, if there is any at all. If there's any at all. And they were trying, like, okay, Diablo Immortal was created from the ground up, from the initial get-go. Our intention was to create Diablo experience on mobile. Okay, not sure about that. It feels pretty much exactly the same, or looks at least like most of the other mobile phone games that we have right now that set in the same setting. Everything around this game is built with the philosophy to make to make the best Diablo experience we can on a mobile platform. It doesn't matter. You don't have any other Diablo experience on a mobile phone. So regardless, even if it's going to be a 2 out of 10, it's still going to be the best Diablo experience on mobile platform. But what they say is that they're basically coming out and saying, like, it's not true that it's just a reskinned version of another game, but then they don't say that they're actually helping in development. They say they only provided art and assets for the game, which is like, okay, so that means anything else you're not involved in? And there was this dude that got up in the middle of the stage, and you've probably saw the video about it, when there was a Q&A session, and he was there with a straight face, just blatantly in a microphone saying, like, I just wanted to ask, is this an off-season April's Fool joke? And that was like the worst moment I've ever seen at BlizzCon, to be honest. It was such a stab straight in the face, you know? The developers, they are standing and they're trying to steer it some other way. They're trying to make it kind of funny, but the guy is like not even making a smile. I mean, that guy needs a medal, seriously. I understand it was maybe a little bit rude, but at the same time, why are you giving people something that they didn't really ask for? Because Diablo strives from hardcore PC gamers who play these games, who are fanatics of that game. They never want to play this game on a mobile. I mean, they would probably have a better chance of making this game, porting it from mobile to PC and just releasing it without ever making it a PC game, and charge $20-30 for it. And it will be sort of like a prequel, what happened between 2 and 3. And this is insane. This is I just don't know what to think, because it's one of the most beloved games by me as a person, and I'm losing complete interest. I'm starting to feel like it's the new Command and Conquer. The way that EA treated Command and Conquer is the same way that Blizzard is now treating Diablo for me. I mean, I have all the characters, all of them are maximum level, and okay, the Paragon level I'm only at 580, but I'm not feel like getting back in if there's nobody playing. And if they think that they can keep riding this for another 4 years before releasing Diablo 4, they are sadly mistaken. And when Diablo 4 needs to come out, it better be good right from the gate, which was not the case with Diablo 3. They had to remake so many things just to make it palatable. And now they are in a position where they don't have a new Diablo. Okay, and this game, if it really is bad, if it really full of microtransaction, if it really is what we actually think it's gonna be, that's just pretty much gonna destroy or severely damage the image of Diablo in general. What was great for me is that Blizzard, even if they attempted, sort of like Hearthstone, they never pushed you to buy things and make it just another microtransaction driven game. And this is frustrating. Yes, I didn't expect Diablo 4, but I expected something that would revitalize Diablo 3 community. Maybe a new character, another one, maybe a new act or a new DLC, a new story, a couple of hours of story, a new location, I don't know, arena, anything like that. Anything at all. And there was nothing. And this is the most frustrating thing for me. I would really like to hear your thoughts and ideas on this particular matter, and I hope that I wasn't being too critical, but I just have to be this way because that's what happens when I'm very passionate about a game that I stuck with since the very, very beginning of my gaming years until now. So please leave the comments below. Let me know, what do you think about BlizzCon in general? What was the announcement that you liked the most? And if you're a fan of Diablo, please tell me, what do you think about this announcement, and what do you think the future for the Diablo holds for us? So thank you very much for listening, and please click that subscribe button, like the video, share it with your friends, that I greatly appreciate. I'm just doing it as a hobby, and I enjoy making videos and presenting things to you, and definitely there's going to be a lot more things to come from this channel once I'm already fully back. So thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next episode of Game Vortex.